directors of BT, and they really loved the fact that we thought he was crazy. And when he showed up at work one day, he didn't have his badge. And the guard at this enormous, how many thousand people work there, Peter? Don't disappear, several thousand. He didn't have his badge. So what did he do? He crashed through the gate, just didn't stop. And so that's Peter.
Ladies and gentlemen, this morning I came dressed as an American, but immediately after Nick's presentation I went back to my room and got changed. If I could just have my slides up, please. I thought what I would do is step back a little and then roll forward through time, and I want to explore with you a subject of artificial life. So let's go.
The first age of telecommunication allowed us to communicate, but only with words. Now, we're entering a new age of communication, in which telephones will transmit words and pictures, making the wonders of the world visible to everyone, everywhere. Every child will be able to read every book.
Can you hear me, love?
Doctors and teachers will share their knowledge with everyone who needs
large bore needle into the chest, below the clavicle, beneath the third rib.
Is that supposed to be me?
And every conversation will take place face to face.
You get a kiss for your daddy?
And eye to eye.
That was a view I had a decade ago. It seems quite amazing that we've really achieved all that, and this is Moore's law, and we all see Moore's law and we feel we understand it, but something that doubles every year and changes to 1,000-fold every decade and a million-fold every 2 decades kind of takes us by surprise because we're principally linear animals. So I think of a future of man, woman and machine, and I'm looking to a third intelligence, machine, to help do a few things. Now, Seymour Cray was one of the most unbelievable human beings I ever met. An incredible engineer, scientist, thinker. And in just 12 years, $8 million, 60 kilowatts, no graphics, to be replaced by a toy. I've got more power on this wrist than the first mainframe that I ever worked on. And to quote Crocodile Dundee, this is a watch. This is extremely powerful. This laptop over here, my laptop, which I'm running off, is more powerful than combined computing power of NASA to put a man on the moon. And there is now more processing power in the seat of my new car than was on the lunar lander. Just to get my butt at the right angle and keep it at the right temperature, amazing. I have put in my laboratory 100 gigabit LAN. It goes all over East Anglia. It's about a 200-mile LAN. I've got the most powerful computers that money can buy, and I've hit the end stop. In the last decade, my work output has gone up by 10-fold. In the last 3 years, it's doubled, and I've come to the end of the line. Now, I recruit all kinds of strange people, zoologists, cosmologists, entomologists, gynecologists, all kinds of people into a telecommunications lab. And one of the reasons is you can't get any educated people anymore. No one knows anything. When I did my PhD, I knew a tremendous amount about nothing. Now, as a senior manager in my company, I know nothing about a tremendous amount. I've become very thin layer on a sea of information. So where I would like to be is far right. I would like to be holistic, eclectic, and omnipotent. My dream. So I see my third lobe. And here she is. She's sat just there. My wife said to me the other night, if I have an apple tattooed on my forehead, will you love me more? What is happening in my industry, every year we can double the number of bits transported on an optical fiber, and every 2 years the cost per bit drops by a factor of 3. We're selling less and less. The cost is going down, the ability is going up. Functions like network management and billing are becoming horrendously expensive because they're not changing at the same rate. There is a European telephone company I can't name, but it costs them 10 Deutschmarks to collect to collect their bills, and some of their customers don't spend that much. There have got to be some drastic changes. Now, internet growth. Here we have the phone system, 6% per annum, eclipsed by internet in the year 2003. Internet wipes out the phone network in 2003. Watch out, because in 2013 it wipes out the GDP of the planet as well. Something strange is going to happen soon, and no one knows what. But it is interesting that in my country, the biggest growth area is intranets. Companies are pouring money into this sector, and I have a sneaky suspicion that intranets may be the winner. But what have we got? We've got a world that's making this subtle transition, as Nicholas would have it, from a world of atoms to a world of bits. Networks everywhere. And we have a phenomenal capability to shift bits around.
And I'm going to have a look at the chair.
Paramedic Keith Hotchkiss wears a headset with a mini TV in front of his right eye, a microphone, headphones and a mini camera. He's linked via satellite and special telephone lines to the hospital.
Okay, Alan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right, we've got a 35-year-old gent involved in an RTA, front impact, high speed. He's complaining of difficulty with breathing, and the trachea is swinging to the left. I think this gent's got a tension pneumothorax of his right side, so I'm going to decompress it now.
Yeah, you're going to have to put a drain in. Have you done one before?
I'm only on a mannequin.
Right, now what I'm going to do...
Consultant Alan Jones.
I'll stop there because it's just after lunch. And I couldn't get the organisers to put paper bags under all the seats. It's kind of serious, isn't it? Who are you going to take to court if the line goes down? You don't want flaky technology in that environment. All these virtual neighborhoods, it's changing the balance of power. The customer is becoming more powerful. They're becoming more knowledgeable. In the last 3 years, I've had several family members and friends go down with cancer, and I've been able to get information in great depth about cancer so that when we went to see the specialist, we were armed to the teeth. They don't like it. Working everywhere. I can tell you that if you use a mobile phone, it drops out at just over 120 miles an hour. In fact, if Frank Casanova is in the audience, Frank always remembers me sending him an email from a train in France at 220 miles an hour, and the only reason it worked was the transmitter was orthogonal to the train and not down the track. Kind of interesting. But we work everywhere. We use the technology, and we're creating a world of chaos. I doubt if there's anyone here without a mobile phone. Let me give you some examples of chaos. Right now, nobody's making a mobile phone call. As soon as we get to coffee time, there'll be 20 people out there trying to make a phone call. 1 or 2 won't be able to get a line, and they'll complain. If you get an accident on a major highway, nobody's making any phone calls till there's the accident, and then 1,000 people will want to make a phone call inside 2 minutes. That's chaos. A lot of it is easy to understand, but as we wear more and more technology, belt space is going to be very valuable. As we wear more and more technology, then this is going to be more and more of a problem. I have here a signet ring with a chip in it. I have a desire to walk into a store, pick up a bag, grab a pair of trousers, a shirt and a tie, and just walk out. As I walk out, the trousers, shirt and tie are recognized at the door by the radio system because they've got chips in. My bank balance is on here, the money's taken off. It's all going to create an incredible amount of correlated activity. That chaos is something that structured systems will not cope with. These people are wearing pain relief modules, pacemakers, all kinds of devices inside. Hundreds of thousands of people are becoming gradually more cyborg. We're subsuming the technology. Curiously, in the UK, we've put chocolate bar machines, Coke machines, garage forecourts online. When the sun comes out and people drink more Coke, the machine rings up for replenishment. Fantastic. You're walking down the street, your pacemaker knows it's going to stop in 10 minutes, but it doesn't make a phone call. Just think about it. Okay? Online monitoring. We will see a lot of people being monitored online instead of being in hospital. When we start to get flu epidemics, guess what's going to happen? There'll be a correlation in the demand. Imagine what's going to happen when you get a hard drive in your car. I don't have a single CD or tape I've ever bought with music on that's got more than 30% of the stuff that I like. In the UK, it's incredibly expensive. You're talking about $22 for a CD, and you only get 30% of what you want. I want to drive into the gas station, and as I fill up with gas, I want to also load up with information into my car. I want to put the stuff and get rid of all that stuff in my car. I want to put the bits straight into the hard drive. Now comes an interesting prospect, some new social behavior. I really need a female partner for this, but you'll have to use your imagination. Suppose in a couple of years' time, I'm wearing a new Discman with an infrared link on it. So you and I meet, I recognize you, and we're talking in the street. We're both walking around with one of these Discman on, and it so happens we like the same kind of music. And I say to you, would you like a copy? And you say, oh yes. Well, I would guess you're a little shorter than me, so I shall stand like this in the street for a few minutes while I squirt the information across. All of a sudden, the phone companies are going to be threatened by the Pony Express again. People will be carriers, as will be cars.
Hello, Bill. This is Henry.
Who? Who did you say?
Henry. I'm calling from London.
Gee, that's a pleasant surprise. How are things in your part of the world?
Well, it's a dark, wet morning here. I suppose you've been basking in the sun all day. Well, let's have a look at you, Bill.
Right, Henry, picture coming up.
You like the mahogany box?
Gee, it's good to see you, Henry. You're certainly looking fit.
How's Betty, Bill?
She's right here now. Come over here, Betty, and say hello to Henry.
Hello, Henry. Long time no see.
I think that's a phenomenally accurate prediction. Video conferencing really is that bad. This is what I would like. Now, this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
These two guys are real.
Mainly about what sort of...
That table is real, but the guys walking on are projected.
Hi.
So they're virtual. Notice they've got eye contact.
How you doing? Okay.
And they're projecting their voices.
We were just hoping to discuss some of the work you've been doing.
Oh, that's why I'm a bit late.
Morning, Phil.
Hi, Phil. Hi.
The only thing you can't do is to slide the biscuits across the table, yet. Okay? Prediction for you, structured hierarchical systems on the left, the old phone network, the old management structures will not take us in the 21st century. They're going to have to be low and flat and self-organizing, and it's going to be much more chaotic. And we have to find systems to cope with that. So this is the most important formula for all of you as managers in the 21st century. The mean time between decisions is very much greater than the mean time between surprises. I'll give you an example. BT, MCI, WorldCom, GTE yesterday. Oh boy, we have an interesting problem. BT, MCI were working almost as one inside 6 weeks flat. It took the British government 4 months to say okay, the British regulator 5 months, the European Parliament 6 months, the American government 7 months, the FCC 8 months, and the good old Justice Department 9 months. By which time WorldCom arrive on the scene, reset the clock and start again. We have got an incredible difference in speed. We have companies with very low, flat, fast communication operating structures up against 16th century institutions, governments. It is going to be tough, and I'm not sure who's going to suffer most. In a chaotic world, you can die real fast. This green company dominated a marketplace for 50 years. It beat off the competition with second-rate technology until an innovator arrived and wiped them out. It's also a model of a fungi on a plate. And in actual fact, the mathematical structure that created this model and seems to fit the real world of business very well also fits biological systems. I feel a little bit like someone lying on their back under Niagara Falls with information just downstreaming on me at a rate I cannot cope with. And I need to find some solutions. And I also need to find some solutions to software in networks that is becoming so huge, so enormous. We have, in my company, the biggest software shop in Europe, 6,000 people running huge manufacturing operations, and it is unsustainable. Sonic Corporation launch a new product every 2 days. They have an average lifetime of 90 days. My company launches a new product every week and we cannot cope. We have to find new solutions. So I see sex as a new evolutionary mechanism for software. And I am not joking. Engineered systems are having sex now. It creates new solutions. Our single biggest breakthrough has been to replace 1.6 million lines of code with less than 1,000 lines of evolved code. The saving is staggering. The optimum number of sexes happens not to be 2, but 4. Being a physicist, of course, I thought it was going to be 2.718. But there were good reasons for that guess. We're now applying this technology to agents. Agents that will not just learn, but reproduce and take the best attributes of a stream. And we have done this by studying, first of all, ant colonies, fish, and many other life forms. And it turns out to be rather revolutionary and different. And we can crack problems of this kind, hill climbing problems, all kinds of mountains and hills, just as an abstract problem. Now, there are some interesting mechanisms here. First of all, the computers are very fast. Secondly, we have 10,000 sexes to start with, and on a given class of problem, they gradually wind down to 4. And thirdly, we have virtual children. And what happens with virtual children is very simple. The parents have a child. If the child underperforms the parents, you shoot the child and start again. It's one or two parents here. And if the child outperforms the parents, you shoot the parents. And when you do, evolution takes off in a way that you will not see in a carbon world and is quite unique. So here is a solution to the traveling salesman problem. The red cities is where you want to visit. The green cities are the virtual cities. The length of the string is the total distance traveled. But I only have to add one more dimension and another dimension, like there's a 1% chance of getting a sale on city 1, 3% on 2, 5% and so on. Oh, and by the way, it's a $50,000 sale for 1, 100,000 for 2, and so on. And no machine or human can crack it, but this can, and very quickly too.
For 3 million years, the human race has been at the top of the evolutionary ladder. Oh, God. Nothing lasts forever.
Science fiction writers like to worry us to death. A lot of fun, we like to be frightened. But seriously, if you go to the production line where cars are manufactured, do not get between the car and the robot. It does not know you're there. We have seen fit to ignore Asimov's laws of robotics. Before we launch artificial life into the world's network, I think we had better get the ground rules straightened out. I, for one, do not wish to wake up one morning to find myself considered as an infestation of this planet. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you.